Hello and welcome back to the 12 Days of Caketastrophe, guys. So I'm here to share yet another tragic story that has happened in the kitchen. This one's not so much tragic, but call me a danger to like some of the kitchens. But I think something like this probably has happened to a lot of people who are just... I think most incidents that happen in the kitchen are usually when people are first starting to learn to like bake, and everyone tends to think they're just better than everyone else, or they don't need the advice on like online and stuff, or people are just lazy. Combination of all of them probably makes it a lot worse. I think I was more like just someone who did partial research but then didn't probably always research enough. Anyway, that's besides the point. So with this story, there's always that one person that kind of like slightly does something that's kind of doesn't fall into common sense or logic in the kitchen, and this happened when I was studying pastry school 4 or 5 years ago. One of the lessons, I can't even remember what we were making, but it required me to use a large sheet of baking paper for some reason, probably to line a baking tray for whatever bread or something that we were baking. At the time, everyone was very, very busy, and the layout of the shop was kind of like the kitchen was basically everyone was sort of on a long bench, and there was 2 per bench, and then there was another side to it, and there were several one of those. On the end of every single bench, there was a sink, and you usually don't really look into the sink because there is a kind of small wall around the sink area, so you can walk over there without like, you know, going to a different section altogether, but you wouldn't really see the person behind like what they're washing. And then behind that sink area, there's like a whole section across the wall where it's the stovetops. There's a thing called, if you're not like much of a person who goes in your kitchen, called pilot for the stove, and that basically means that it's kind of like it's on and still going, but it's almost like dormant, like you're not really using it, like there's no like big fire on top. Is how I understand it, but basically you have to be careful in the kitchen, because sometimes when we needed it for like a recipe soon, we would light it up, ignite it, and then we would keep it on pilot so that we don't have to redo the whole process again. And it doesn't exactly look that different when it's on pilot though, for most of the times, from like a closed stove. And at the time I needed a baking sheet, and I was just like, I think it was the baking sheet roll was in between on a counterpart that was between the stove tops, and I reached over and I grabbed the sheet, and then I was like, whee, and then grabbed it over, not really thinking about the pilot thing, and I didn't think anyone was having it on pilot or using it. So I switched it over, and it kind of, with the way that baking paper droops and stuff, as you carry something that light, generally that side furthest away from you will droop a little bit, and it just happened to droop and kind of like swung past that point, and that was just all it took for it to slightly ignite. And I was just like carrying it, and then as I walked across the sink area, I was just like looked over, and then like 1/3 of it was already catching on fire, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I was just like which is strange that I stayed that calm during that situation. I'm actually surprised. Anyway, the funny thing was, what made the situation so amazing was that literally that was the only time that no one in the kitchen, of like at least 10 plus students, everyone was looking down, nobody noticed, and I immediately put it into the sink, scrunched it in there and put some water on top, and then took a few minutes to kind of just gather myself again and be like, what the hell just happened? And it was at that time, you know, once you actually put water on fire, that's when the smoke really, really comes up, and then that's when you really get the smell. And I guess that's when someone actually noticed, and one of the girls in class, she was like, ooh, what's that smell? It's like something's burning. Can you smell that? And I was just like, yeah, I wonder what that smell is. Maybe something's burning, like I wanna, yeah, I have no idea, yeah. It's funny, I mean, that was kind of dangerous, but you know, it wasn't the biggest fire, and honestly it was an easy thing to fix, and I knew what to do. Like, it wasn't like I would chuck it straight into bin or something like that, but you'd be surprised, there are people who do crazier things. We used to have a girl who walked across like the other kitchen, because there was like basically a big theory class, and in the kitchen you split into two groups. Apparently in the next kitchen door over, a girl that I knew was walking around in the kitchen with like 10 knives in her hands, just like held forward, and she was just like, "Oh, behind you, sorry, excuse me, yeah, oh, just carrying some knives, yeah." And people were, mortified. They were just like, what is she doing? But yeah, I don't think she realized at any point that that was dangerous, and what she was doing was also horrible for herself. Like, if she slipped, like, I cannot imagine what would have happened. But yeah, the behind you thing is a chef thing where a lot of workplaces as well generally use in the kitchen, where it's just to prevent people from running into you when they turn in and don't see you. So you often like let out and call, "Behind you, just behind you, careful behind you," something like that. And well, in her case, I guess it was necessary, but it's also not very helpful when you're pointing like 10 knives forward and they're calling behind you. In case someone can hear you, I think it will be a little bit late. Like, "Oh, sorry, behind you." Just like stabbed into someone already. Anyway, so that was the end of the baking paper story. Yeah, there's a few more if you wanted to go back and look at them if you missed them, and then there will be a few more coming till the end of the 12 days of Christmas. I hope you guys have been enjoying your Christmas time and catching up with your family and friends. If you like this story, please press the like and subscribe and the notification button, which is the little bell. It really helps, and I'd love for you guys to not miss any videos and share your experiences with me. If you do think of any funny stories that you've had, comment down below. Maybe I can share some of the best ones and pick them out or something, or I don't know, but I would just love to read them and feel a little bit better about some of my situations. So I'll catch you in the next story. Bye!